Good Friday afternoon, everyone. How is everyone?
Hey,
I said
it's
afternoon, but
always
maybe
great.
evening, because it's evening where you are now.
It's night. I don't know. I have shades down. It's too warm, so everything is blocked. I don't know whether
Everything's
it's day
blocked.
or night.
And I did
I'm
see,
awake.
yeah, and I did see recently that Spain's, I'm not going to say the word, numbers have gone through the roof. So
Yes,
hospitals
because
are very busy right now.
that's what happens when you need to balance economy and health, and then tourist season just finished. It will go back to normal now.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. Here, let me stop this real quick because they don't matter right now. It's not my mom. The only person I would answer a phone call for while I'm talking to you is my mom, my wife. Actually, let me reorder this. My wife, my daughter, and my mom. Everybody else, you have to wait.
Go away.
Speaking of which, oh wait, I shared that too soon. I got to figure out why. Okay, that's really annoying. Let me go back to this. All right, so anyway, if you haven't been here before, my name is Darren. I got it right this week. My name is Darren. This over here is the man, the myth, the legend, Victor Farsick. And together we're the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. On every Friday, most every Friday, we'll talk about that later, we try to do this live stream. No net, no script, points, no script. Do we even have scripts on the podcast?
We don't, but
We probably should.
we are better prepared at pretending that we have a script at the
Yeah.
podcast than here. That's
Yes.
the difference.
Yeah. No edits. That's the whole thing. There's no edits. So you can ask us questions live. In fact, if you haven't commented over in the chat just yet, go ahead and do that. Put in your name, and of course, we know who you are by name, but tell us where you're watching from today. That'd be pretty cool to see. Because we always have a very interesting. I lost my monitor here. There we go. Now it's back. Always interesting, diverse set of people watching from where they're watching. So thanks for everybody that watches live. And if you're watching on replay, you're just as cool as well. Thanks, because we have a good number of people watch us live. We have a lot more good number of people watch us on replay. So for everybody that's watching on replay, thank you very much. Okay, now let's get to business. Oh, wait. This is business, right? Do you have your drink?
I'll be back.
Okay, here. I'll wait till he gets back. I'm not going to go back to full screen. So while he's getting his drink, if you don't have your drink, go get your drink today. Today I have a sparkling grapefruit from Lidl. That's what it is right there. Not hard, just normal sparkling. I don't know why he would have forgotten today. Oh, I went too early. I'm thirsty though. I just had some snacks and they're very salty. So I think he's coming back now. I hear the door. You probably hear the door
Yes,
as
I am.
well. And he's
Here's
back.
beer.
Okay, he's got beer. Okay. I'm sorry, I went ahead and popped it because I had some salty stuff. And I'm thirsty. Okay. Let's get to the news of the week. There was quite a bit of news this week. This one, I went ahead and left as the number one because you put it in, so I didn't shift it around. Gitpod is now open source, and I forgot my cool lower thirds. Oh, I forgot to talk about. Okay, I messed up again. Here, let's not do this again. This week's episode, if you didn't listen to this week's episode, it was with Yotam and Chin, or Hin. Forgive me, because I still can't figure it out. From Cloudwise, and talking about observability and things like that. If you haven't listened to that yet, go back and listen to it. We'll talk about next week's episode towards the end of this live stream. And I saw that they were promoting the snot out of it. Yotam and Hin, thank you. Thanks for being a great guest, and on top of that, thank you for promoting it. We appreciate that. And hopefully it's good for you guys too. All right, now let's get back to news. All right, what we're talking about here is Gitpod is now open source. Why did you put this on the list?
Because it's awesome. And I don't know whether that's because I just randomly stumble on those things or no, but lately I see kind of that explosion of creating tools that help create development environment.
Mm-hmm.
The last week we covered, or week before that, Visual Studio Code Spaces, right? This is yet another similar concept. how to create a whole environment in no time and be productive immediately. And it looks very awesome.
Self-hosted is free. If
Yep.
you're having to self-host, it's not a negative thing. In this case, it could be a positive.
Yeah. I mean, actually, now when I think about it, this is not scripted. Hey, if you're not going to cloud because you have a bunch of servers laying around and you don't know what to do with them, and you think it would be a waste not to use them, and therefore you're not going to cloud. Yeah, go to cloud and use those servers for this.
Yeah.
That's an idea.
Yeah, completely okay. Until the cost of running those old servers is more than the energy that you're burning, because they're not energy efficient.
But it shouldn't be. Actually, it shouldn't be really maintenance issue, because you're just giving the power to developers to create their stuff, right? No need to apply that whole process, whichever process you're doing. No need for 17 Jira tickets for any work item and all those things.
It's just there.
Exactly.
I cannot tell you the number of. I will never forget this client. And this is one of my clients that I had a couple of years ago. And we were going through and talking about, and they were putting things onto VM, just regular VM, and it's okay, right? And you expect sort of, okay, I've got to put in tickets for VMs. Now, in a perfect world, it's self-service and all those other things. But in this case, it's not abnormal to have to wait a week or two to get a VM. I'm not saying it's good, but it's not abnormal. They said, okay, we'll call you back in 12 months. And we thought he was joking. He says, no, when we put in a ticket for a VM, it takes a minimum of 12 months to get a VM provisioned. And sure enough, 12 months later, he called back. It's like, okay, now we're ready.
Why do you have VMs? Why do they have VMs?
I mean, I could go and order a physical server and rack it and stack it somewhere quicker than 12 months.
It shouldn't take you more than a month.
Yeah. Well, 6 weeks. Let's say that. But yes, it shouldn't take more than a month. Okay. So go check it out. If you're looking at in this space, go take a look at Gitpod. The links for everything that we're discussing today will be down in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're on our site watching it, you'll see it down in the notes. Okay. Next big one. I think our friend Carlos said it the best. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. GitHub Container Registry launched this week.
Yeah. Yet another GitHub Container Registry. Sorry, not GitHub. Yet another container registry. I was missing. I didn't have enough of those.
Evidently not, because now GitHub is in the mix for this. Now, basically, this is piggyback off of their packages subsystem, so which is fine, right? That's the logical thing to do. But with Docker making their free tier less, how do I say it without being too negative? Less usable. I don't mean that negative. I mean, it's just that if for some reason I'm pulling an image and I haven't pulled it in 7 months, and now I go to pull it and it's no longer there, then that's going to cause me problems. But again, if it's something that I need, even on a sporadic basis, I should be paying for it. That should be the bottom line. Nothing is free.
Yeah. But I mean, the good news in this is that container registries are popping like mushrooms after rain, right?
Yeah.
And that's a good news for consumers. That means that it's becoming commodity. Nobody will be able to charge, or is able to charge, anything but peanuts for those things, which is a good thing for users, right? The thing that I'm wondering is that, I'm asking myself lately, do I need specifically container registry instead of just kind of like binary repository?
Yeah.
If all I'm doing is containers, yes. I mean, I would go for that, right? Or whatever. Yeah. But if I need other types of binaries, then I might not want to split it into multiple places.
It doesn't make sense, because a Docker image is, guess what? A binary.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, there are details, kind of now you can put manifests with your containers and some other things, but still, essentially, 95% is just a binary like any other.
Yeah.
And then I'm asking myself, okay, so if you already have Artifactory, use that for container images as well instead of, let's say, GitHub container registry. Now, if you don't have anything and use only containers, power to you.
Yeah. So yet another one has arrived. I think it's cool. All right, let's go through a couple of these other ones that we have. This one I saw, I believe, on Reddit, and it's called KubeWiz. And basically, the way that it was sort of proposed, and this is in beta, the way that the guys posted about it was we got bored. All the things that's going on in 2020 caused us to sort of do something. And this something was this. So it's basically a way to prepare for the CCAD. That's what I'm calling it. I don't know if that's the real way it's said or not. But you get 5 questions. You also get access to a cluster. It's available for an hour. Doesn't this feel really, really bad that, okay, I've got an hour for Kubernetes cluster. What damage can I do with it?
Hour is
for
definitely
free?
not enough. It's,
okay, I mean, you say an hour is not enough
for anything.
But think about your guys last week that breached your AWS account. An hour. It didn't take very long for an hour to add up.
Yeah, those who know what to do, they don't need an hour.
That's what I'm saying. If it's just somebody trying to figure it out, they're not a problem. But
but I think that it's a good idea, and then they're playing around. They might earn a few bucks. That's all good, but it messes up a bit with my head. I always kind of envisioned, if you're gonna take a certification, which is a separate conversation, but let's assume that you are, kind of get some hands-on practice first, real one, and then go and get certificate, right? And if you're talking about real hands-on practice, it's not this, right? And this is nothing. I don't know how to put it without sounding that I'm saying anything bad about people who are taking certificates. At the first step, I understand that that's a way to get a job through which you're going to get experience. But there's something wrong with our industry that it's asking for that type of experience, kind of high school type of experience. Let me pass the exam and then somebody's going to give me a job. To me, certificates are more like confirmation of your experience rather than a way to get experience. Should be.
I agree. That was a good one. Do you remember our safe word?
No. But if I do, wait. Was it bollocks?
Close enough.
No?
Anyway, KubeWiz. Hey, if nothing else, you've done the other things. This just may be another, I feel pretty good about it now. Right? It's just another validation point for you.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. Okay.
Fair enough.
KubeWiz. ExporterHub. Now this one I think might make you excited. I don't know. I might be overthinking it.
I'm hard to get excited.
I know.
But you give it a try.
Okay. So this is a curated list of Prometheus exporters. Much like, instead of having to go to the CNCF page of 3,987, 8, 9, 90, however many new things are going into CNCF, if all I really care about are Prometheus exporters, I've got one place to go. I think this is good because good, bad, or indifferent doesn't really matter. It gives me just a place to go look just for these things. Plus, this sort of builds on what we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks in the podcast about metrics and logging and these kinds of things. At least from this point, I can get metrics. It's like, why would I ever get a Prometheus exporter for a Windows machine?
Because you might be running Windows nodes.
Yeah, I know. Okay. But when I know.
Can I now provide the kind of pessimistic view
Please
on
do.
the same thing?
Please do.
Now, this is cool because that's acknowledgement that those applications will never adapt themselves to provide metrics in /metrics so that Kube can discover them themselves. So basically, this list is a list of applications who don't want to play nice in Kubernetes. Can it be that interpreted? Because Prometheus will discover the applications in your cluster that provide metrics in its format.
Right.
So we're talking about applications who do not do that.
Right. Well, okay, so they do have one listed here at the bottom that it's just a Python client.
Yeah.
Useful, right? At least that makes sense. But going back up top here to where, okay, so there's a handful of, so the top three, console, memcache, and MySQL, there's all official type releases. But as soon as you get below that, it's all unofficials. So Redis, you would think one of the darlings of anything web scale would have an official Redis exporter.
Exactly. Or baked in.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, and there's some others that are, it's just all around here. We could say the same thing about Ceph. Come on, right? You can't do Ceph without Kubernetes. I can do Redis without Kubernetes, but I can't do Ceph without. So anyway.
Yeah, but Ceph, at least Ceph, you can say it's a very low level mambo jumbo it's a very good one. Yeah.
So anyway, there's also their GitHub repo around on this other side that talks more about it. So I haven't looked at all this, but it's, I think this drives what we just looked at here.
Yeah.
So take a look at it. And this is actually a little bit easier because then it's just a list. I process the list a lot faster than I process pictures. But ExporterHub, you're negative. I'm positive to Matt on this. Just because it's nice going to one place to get the information.
So the reason why I'm probably more negative than I should be is that I think that now we're in a phase that first everybody now we're not discussing whether Kubernetes is a good thing or no. Everybody's exploring how to use it, what's or not. Now we're in a phase of having certain standards and expecting all the applications to follow those standards. Like, okay, this is how you expose metrics. This is how you do networking. This is how you do this. This is how you do logging. This is how you do whatever else, right? And that makes everybody's life so much easier because if I can keep those assumptions, call it cloud native, or call it Kubernetes, whatever you want to call it, if everybody applies those assumptions, then actually I have no-brainer way to manage all third parties in my cluster. And that's pretty much needed. Now, if I need to search for, I'm using Exporter, but this really applies to many different things. If I need to search for a different way how to get the metrics from each application, that's a miserable life. The same thing applies to logs and what's or not, right?
Okay, so let's talk to the application developer at the mom and pop shop or big enterprise. If you're not exposing metrics natively within your application, are you doing it wrong today?
Did you block?
No.
Did you reset?
No. Do you want me to?
Okay, no. I thought that you stopped in the middle of the sentence. Was it for me?
That was it. Yeah, it was for you. Who else am I talking to right now?
I don't know. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Okay, so repeat the question. If you're an application developer today, building microservices, anything that's being deployed to Kubernetes, let's frame it in that part. Should you be exporting metrics as just like how you would be doing your unit test today? In other words, if there isn't a checkbox of are metrics being exported, you're not able to deploy.
Yeah. Similarly, like you must be outputting logs to std out. please don't do files, right? Same reason, because everybody else expects that, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Close enough. Next up on the list, Epiphany.
I like the word. Now I have very big expectations behind that word now.
Okay. Well, let's see if the expectations are in alignment with what we see. So basically, it's a workflow engine. My word, not theirs. So anybody from Epiphany watching this, please don't get upset. In this case, I am looking at pictures and drawing conclusions from pictures. What this looks like to me is a workflow engine. I have a start, I have an end, and I have a flow. Therefore, to me, it's a workflow. But it feels like Zapier. You know what Zapier is? Are you paying attention?
I muted myself.
Okay. You know what Zapier is, or Zapier, whatever you want to call it, right? So this feels like Zapier for insanity, because there's playbooks to do clusters and other playbooks and running DevOps. What is running DevOps?
I love it.
So developing software, I understand. That's verb, noun, or actually adjective, noun. Managing infrastructure, good. Running DevOps?
That's when you take the whole shared services department
and you run
and
DevOps?
make them run 5 circles around the building.
Again, Epiphany, we're not bashing on you. It just is a funny phrase. I hadn't caught that before now. I stumbled across this on a Medium post that they had, and went through it, and more of an example of what's going on, to where an alert happened, and basically there's the workflow to take care of your remediation for you. So hopefully it's one of those things to where, okay, an alert goes, it hits somewhere, the workflow fires off, and by the time you're actually sitting down to resolve the alert, it's already taken care of itself. Right?
So we're talking about CI/CD pipeline.
That's what it feels like, right? Really,
I mean, not maybe necessarily applied to CI/CD, but we're talking about pipeline, right?
Yes.
That's what
That's why I said workflow. So, and they have an example here on this Medium post. Again, these links will be down in the description and in the show notes. Okay, this picture was better than the one I saw before. So basically it starts an alert parser. If it's CPU high, restart the pod. Okay, that smells weird, but if the service is down, run the service down playbook, right? Again, nothing here that is, how should we say, earth-shattering, but it might be easier to manage. I don't know.
Yeah, but what confuses me is that this is very much focused on Kubernetes.
Oh, fully focused on Kubernetes.
Yes. So it is focused on Kubernetes, and it's trying to make people translate their old processes letter by letter into Kubernetes.
And that was
basically, it is lifting and shifting non-Kubernetes processes into Kubernetes. Because if you look at those diagrams, all those that I've seen so far are actually much better handled in a different way.
Yes. This is an anti-pattern gone horribly wrong.
Like restarting pod, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you have health checks.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
service down playbook. I mean, yes, when service is down, you know what happens? Kubernetes restarts it. This is lifting and shifting of processes. This is brilliant. Now, I'm not sure when I say brilliant how easy it is to discover the sarcasm in my voice, but
well, okay. So sometimes you say brilliant, and you really mean brilliant.
Yes, I'm
right
trying
now.
To
this brilliant was not so brilliant.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I need to figure out different words so that people cannot maybe distinguish the tone of voice to know the meaning of the brilliant. This is bad.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys. I would like to trademark your name. Actually, name is worth more than a product.
Yeah, I'm curious how taking the old way and putting it into the new way, just because that's the way that we used to do things, isn't the right answer. It's not.
Absolutely not.
No. So, but I'm not going to completely throw them under the bus. If it's really this simple and drag and drop connectors, I haven't seen anybody else do that.
I have then a question for you. And this is completely forget about Kubernetes in this context. Okay. I don't know how many workflows implementations you've seen. Have you seen them?
More than I care to remember.
How many of them were successful? I'm yet to see a successful implementation of a workflow beyond something, for HR, something simple, kind of very, very administrative, some kind of tasks. Beyond that, I never saw successful implementation.
So if you go back 8 years, this is basically what I did with the startup that I was at. And fortunately, we ended up being on Elastic Beanstalk on AWS, or fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it. And we had all of this stuff built and baked. Obviously, it wasn't this pretty. It was very pipeline-ish. But I think there were only probably 2 times in 4 years that we actually had to involve the human because it was a case that we hadn't built the playbook for.
Okay, that's right? Good then.
Yeah, but the thing is people tend to overcomplicate things. Our stuff was pretty straightforward. I mean, I try to not overcomplicate. I already complicated enough big things in my life. When it comes to system design, I try to simplify it because I already have enough other complex things going on. So I just make it like, okay, it's running. It's not running. Restart it. Well, that's the case too, where you can, hey, I'm using Monit. Monit just restarts the service. I don't have to worry about certain things, and.
Yeah, my comment was more, at least those that I experienced in the past were more like those complex ones. Imagine a whiteboard and then you have a bunch of like this shape and then it says yes, no, and then it goes here and there and then yes, no, and then like only drawing it makes you crazy.
Yeah, so let me share this back up here again. This is reasonable. Ignoring that it may be wrong, this is reasonable.
Yes.
Right? This is something that I can stare at, and even if I don't understand it, at least I can begin to comprehend it. It's easy to follow. It's not an 8-foot by 10-foot whiteboard with 18 different colors and so many decision trees in it. It's like, okay, what are you doing? Are you trying to keep a job for life? Is this the job you really want to have? Whereas this is like, this is pretty reasonable. But this is where we, especially as being people that do development, we have to be careful because we will start over-engineering. I fall into that really quickly. So I have to guard myself against it.
No, and also my kind of negative connotation to workflow, and that probably changed. I should probably investigate that. But in the past, it was mostly for people. It was similar to like kind of no code today. It was mostly for people who think that they can create complex operations by dragging and dropping something in some UI. At least that's how it looked 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm old. Oh my God.
And you're a kid compared to me. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of kids, this one, if you haven't seen this yet, we're talking about yet another container registry. We have yet another base OS to build containers. This one's from AWS. It's called Bottlerocket. They had announced it a while back, but now it's actually out and available. It is only good for images. Now, this is the one thing that really threw me off. AWS provided Bottlerocket images are available for EKS, which is currently GA, but it's still preview for ECS. Dave, are you listening?
That's
Dave?
new.
Yes.
This is amazing. This is the first time I hear that EKS is prioritized over ECS. First time.
Dave? Take your nods from some of your competitors. I'll say it. Scrap ECS. Go put Knative on top of EKS and call it a day. Dave, are you listening? Okay, I know you can't do that, right? We understand that. But a boy can wish. So this appears to be a competitor towards what Red Hat did with, oh, help me. What's it called? It's not UCI. What's their image? UBI. The UBI images.
Yep.
One letter off. So the only thing that's sort of strange to me is it's available for EKS. So that means it's not really completely portable. I haven't dug into it yet, but...
Not necessarily. It can also mean that you could theoretically, it could mean, probably doesn't, but it could mean you can use it anywhere, but we didn't really test it. We're not putting things to ECS just because they exist, right?
Right.
But, you know, the thing is that, I mean, this is probably great and all the congratulations type of stuff. But the thing is that I was very excited about similar news like some years ago. Now it's like, I don't care. I don't care about operating system running on VMs on below Kubernetes.
Right.
Somebody probably does, but I don't remember the last time I checked kind of what is below GKE, KS, AKS, this or that kind of, yeah.
And I've completely misread this. This is the OS to actually run the instances. So
yeah,
I was thinking this was base image like UBI. So I totally borked this one up. But now I'm back. So now the one thing that we can say good about AWS, we can say lots of good things about AWS, but their Linux distribution that runs their instances is really good. And I'm surprised that they actually don't charge extra to actually run it, because it is good.
You mean to run it outside the AWS or?
Even inside AWS. Like, I'm surprised they don't have a premium.
Yeah.
Andy, Werner, if you're listening, I'm surprised you don't have a premium Linux distribution to where people pay extra to be able to do what Bottlerocket is doing. Just saying. All right. Final little bit of news that I saw this week, and I'm still scratching my head on this one. It's called Kalm. Easily deploy and manage Kubernetes applications on Kubernetes. Do all the things. It's all UI. Here, let me blow this up for you just a little bit, Victor.
Mm-hmm.
What does this look like to you?
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
Super.
It sort of looks like what you would see with Cloud Run.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But it's not really a service. It's kind of like, yeah.
And it's still very alpha. If you see this at the top, it's like super alpha.
I'm curious about versions, like kind of, it's more or less random, right? Whether it's alpha or beta or GA.
Yeah. I don't know. But the log collection sort of piqued my interest here a little bit. You can either go down the Loki. Now, shh. We talk about Loki later. Not today. You got Loki and you've got Elk. We have an episode coming out in a few weeks talking about this. It can run on any cluster. They even call it a K3S Raspberry Pi. Hey, I've got 4 little 1 gig Raspberry Pis. This might end up on it just to see what's going on. Choosing DEX for off. I mean, this could be interesting, but yet this gets back to the thing of point and freaking click.
First that. Second, how big of a future it has, because if you go back down where it works, right?
Yeah.
Down, 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 down. I can expect that all those or most of those already have those things baked in or are planning to bake it in. Maybe not the same choices, I have to clarify, but kind of if I go to Google GKE, Amazon AKS, Azure AKS, what were the examples? Logging, that's already baked in, right? Metrics, more or less baked in. Service mesh, in the process of being baked in or baked in, depending on which one. So CI/CD integration, that kind of yes, but powerful ingress, yeah. I mean, whatever my provider gives me.
I don't. Now, wait. You ready for this?
Go.
Don't blink. They have a dark mode site. This is the first site that I've seen that does this.
Why isn't it default?
Did this just go up in your list? It's like it goes from. It's funny, but it's also sort of the truth. So anyway.
Hey, why not? Why not?
Yeah. If this looks interesting to you, go try it out. I'm not to that point yet of being interested enough to go do it, but maybe. The only reason why I'm interested is since they called out K3S on Raspberry Pi. That's the only reason why I think it's like, maybe I'll go try that.
Yeah, it's kind of, and we reviewed a couple of similar cases a short while ago, and everybody's trying to tell me what to kind of create a bundle of best of the breed tools in Kubernetes. Mm-hmm. And I feel that I'm getting bored with that. It's Prometheus. Yeah, it's Elk Stack. I know. It's not really hard to install them yourself, but you're giving me Wizard to do it with one click.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go back to what we were just talking about on workflows with Epiphany for a moment. I just saw that you'd sent me this link.
Yes, that's how they looked like. This is just the first result in Google, so it's not really anything intentional. But that's how they looked like when I worked with them. That's why I hate them. That this never worked. Never.
And the thing about this one though is there's still white space. So so it's actually manageable.
This is early stages. Early stages.
Exactly. Yeah.
First draft.
First draft. Oh dear. So that's the news that we saw for the week. What news did you see? We did have Vladislav did ask a question. You want to ask and try to answer this one?
What happened to your AWS bill? That's a complicated one to answer. Actually, that AWS bill went to the corporate credit card, and I told corporate to not pay it, and then I left that corporate. So I don't know.
I have an answer for that.
I made $12,000 bill, and then I left the company. I have no idea. that could be considered almost intentionally evil, but it's not.
No. So the answer is we don't know yet, right?
No. So on my billing statement, I can see it is still that amount, but I got email that they say yes, we're going to remove that whole amount. Okay. We just didn't do it yet.
Okay.
So it will be settled.
Yeah. Which is good. It sounds like they're doing the right thing. Which they've done that for. I mean, they've always been reasonable. Based on things I've read, I'm sure there've been some unreasonable cases.
Yeah. So I can say many things about AWS that I don't like, but the speed with which they react and in critical situations and support and all that is really exceptional. Yeah. Now, it's just that it was my personal account, so I freaked out that I didn't get that answer same day. Right. I need to wait for a week, which I guess if it would be a company, I mean, $12K is not earth-shattering thing that you're going to freak out like I do.
Yeah, 12K.
Like Vladislav could afford it, but I can't.
Should forward the bill to Vladislav. Wait, don't do that. There was one other thing I was going to ask you, and I totally blanked. Is it over here? I did not write it down. Nope, I didn't write it down. So your week's been good. You did a talk this week. Let's talk about your talk for a moment.
Yes, it was kind of different than what I normally do. There was no talk. I recorded a talk, gave a link to everybody who was about to attend the talk to watch it, and then the whole talk was AMA, kind of ask me anything. I did 5 to 10 minutes just in case somebody didn't watch it. There is always somebody kind of, this is a summary.
Right.
Ask me anything. So it was a conversation instead of, unilateral talk where you give people chance last 5 minutes to ask questions. And I think that that's the model that I will prefer to do in the future. I mean, it's online. Everybody watches videos and all those things. Why would... So this is actually the question that I'm asking myself today in conferences.
Right.
Why would anybody go to watch a conference live if it's going to be a talk that is just as good as a talk that is recorded and posted on YouTube? And especially that same talk will be posted later. So why would they go through inconvenience to be at special time in front of the computer watching a live talk? Now, if it's a conversation, if it's ask me anything, if it's Q&A, that makes more... To me, that sounds so much more appealing for me to tune in at specific time.
That makes it worth showing up.
Yeah, right. Kind of. That's the difference between me watching it. That's kind of like a movie on television. Nobody watches movies on television anymore. I mean, as a device, yeah, but on a normal channel, right?
Right.
You go to Netflix because you can watch it whenever it's convenient to you. And I don't see why talks should be any different. Now, if it's a live session kind of discussion, then that's the reason. Like a football match, right? You watch football matches or soccer or rugby or whatever live because it's happening at that very moment.
But this is different.
Yeah.
This is the model that my wife has advocated for years from a teaching perspective, is don't use classroom time, and I'm equating classroom time to going to the event. Send me the stuff, I'll watch the videos at home, and then I show up in a room and then actually have a discussion about what I learned.
Exactly.
It's much more efficient. If I want to listen to somebody at 2x speed, I can. If I need to slow it down, if I need to replay it, I can. Whereas if my phone happened to send me a notification right at the very point that somebody's doing something live, I might miss it.
And there is always the occasional need to do pee or caca.
That is true. And then you can just pause it and come right back.
Exactly.
Or you need to go after doing SEDS number 1 and 2, and you needed to refresh and give yourself extra energy to build the next number 1 or number 2, then you can. So it was pretty good though, right? You did it.
Yeah.
It was for, who was it for? Agile?
It was Agile something in Austin.
Agile Austin.
Agile Austin, yeah. It was good. I liked it.
Do you have any other talks coming up soon?
Oh yeah, I have 2 or 3 next week.
2 or 3 next week.
Yes. Now don't ask me which ones because
I know you don't know. You show
it's
up
in
like
calendar.
5 minutes
I'll be reminded. No, I check in before going to sleep. I check my calendar for the next day.
You check your calendar for the next day to see if you have to wake up or not.
Yes.
Right. You determine,
yes.
Oh yeah, I have to wake up today.
Exactly.
We'll try to get those lifted over and put on. Are any of them public, or all of them? Are they privates?
Yeah, they're all public, I think. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe we can set some links up below if you want to see Victor not live or live. Are they lives or are they going to be not lives?
They're live. I mean, one of them I'm looking forward to. It's a panel.
Okay.
The other one is a talk. I think it's pre-recorded talk.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Yeah, this goes back. Okay, so panels would be an interesting one. I don't know that I would enjoy a pre-recorded panel. Maybe. I mean, if it's done well. But it's hard to do a Q&A after a panel and get... It's one thing to have one person show up and do a live Q&A if you had to coordinate 5 people to show up at a certain time. I guess it's no
really
different than a conference, though, I guess.
It depends how you do the panel, and I don't know how this one will be done, so I don't know in advance. But I imagine a panel being that, the moderator has some questions, but those questions are just fillers in between questions of the audience. Right. I hope, right? Now, panel with pre-prepared questions, that's just silly. I don't... Actually, now when I think about it, yes, organizers send me some document to answer the questions.
I think you just
I didn't open it. I didn't open it.
You can contact Victor at victor@farsight.com. Doesn't mean he'll actually open it, but you can contact him there. But if you ever want to actually get directly to Victor, thank you for setting us up for this. Go sign up for the Slack workspace.
Yeah.
You can direct message Victor there, and he will answer there most of the time.
Yes.
In the few hours that he's not asleep, or the few hours that he is asleep, he won't answer then. Actually, do you have a bot? Do you have a bot that answers for you?
No, there is that actually just a bit of there is that window between before going to sleep and sleeping, which is usually when I'm answering. Throughout most of the day or night, when I get immersed into something, I ignore Slack, so I'm not answering immediately, but then I find those half an hour. I might be answering from the toilet. That's those 3 moments.
Okay, dude, we've talked number 1, number 2, and the toilet.
Yeah, really I'm gross today. I'm gross today. I'm gross. I know.
It's today we're getting the 12-year-old Victor today. So you got a couple of things coming up. If you can get me the links, we'll add them to the show notes.
Yeah.
And let's see what else is going on. I'm just trying. We're almost at the hour anyway, so maybe that's it. Maybe that's it for today. Oh, next week's episode, we're going to talk about what next week's podcast episode is about. This is the one where we had an interview with an author about Kubernetes. And that's all I'm going to say about it for right now. So you have to listen to it on Wednesday. It comes out at 6 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday. And we've got a couple of very interesting guests lined up that we haven't recorded yet, that we're getting ready to go off on, how should I say, a very dark path. That we may actually start having Victor and myself very vehemently disagreeing on things. Finally.
Which one is it?
Come on, check your email. Oh, wait.
No, I do check emails, but then I know that there are some that
you just don't read them. You just check it. You don't.
No. I read all the emails that contain useful information. Now, if it comes from you, I know that the email is just click yes to agree on certain time and meet you. And I'm going to wing it. I'm not going to read it.
I know. I know that. But yeah, those vehemently disagree may be too strong of a phrase, but we're going to get into some disagreements, and we'll probably get in disagreements together with some of our guests. And those are probably going to be coming out towards the end of September into October, based on scheduling right now. But this week's coming up is I thought, a very good conversation with an author. Again, I'm holding back the name, so it's not I'm not trying to completely waste it. But then after that, I'm in the middle of editing the next couple of episodes to where we're talking about GitOps and logging and metrics and all the things that we sort of touched on today, especially around the, who was it? I already forgot their name. I remember Epipahni, but I can't remember the other E word. ExporterHub. If you're writing applications today and they're meant to be run on Kubernetes and you're not exposing metrics, you're doing it wrong. Period. You're doing it wrong. So maybe that's your homework for the weekend is, okay, we're deploying stuff, but we're not making it simple for Prometheus to do its normal job. oh, we're not sending our logs out to standard out. We're putting them in a log file, so Loki can't do its job or Elk can't do their job. Go fix that this weekend. That's your task for the weekend. We will be doing a homework check on Tuesday because if you're in the US, Monday is a holiday. I think I'm actually going to be able to take it off. I have a few more hours of log scraping myself to get done today. That's okay. Log scraping isn't horrible. XML scraping, on the other hand, is no fun at all. Actually, it should be easier to do the XML because at least it's validly formed. I should be able to scrape it correctly. But I haven't written script for it.
Were you kind of, did you jump at a long time ago into that XML programming with XSD or whatever was the...
No.
Then you're a happy person.
I had to do a little bit of it, and fortunately I was able to talk the client out of doing it that way. And I got him to JSON instead of dealing with XML. That was probably 15 years ago now. That was just dealing with XSDs. That's just, I mean, it's because at the time it was all SOAP, and that's when REST was just starting to become a glimmer of hope to move away from that. But yeah, I did just enough to know that I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, that's probably, that can easily get to the top 3 worst ideas ever.
I cannot remember the name of the editors, but there were specific editors that were written to help you write the XSD.
Of course.
I don't even remember who it was. I just remember it was big, ugly, and heavyweight. It made WebSphere look like Tomcat. It was that level of insanity. But that's just one of those weird things that we always public shame Vladislav. We try not to private shame because that's not good. Just say it to our face, right?
Exactly.
Most of the time we jest, but there's usually some truth threaded through the jest. Just rethink things.
I don't even know what the word jest means.
Jest?
So...
joke.
Okay. No, I'm too serious to ever joke.
I'm too serious to ever joke. Okay. Maybe that's how we end today. I think you just... I think there's nothing else I can say.
I killed the mood. That's it. Call it off. Finished.
So thanks for hanging out with us today. Again, new episode drops on Wednesday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern. Next week, I am still waiting on my schedule to be scheduled for me. Right now, it's a 90-10 chance that I won't be here on Friday. So I don't know what we're going to do yet. Once we know, just keep watching. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn, and you will get a notification on Thursday because by Thursday, I'll know what we're doing on Friday. Does that work for you?
Never better.
Have you switched from beer to Coke already?
Yeah, I didn't want to run away from from this session again. I'm gonna get beer after this is finished.
More beer.
Okay. I finished the one that I brought with me.
Finished the one beer and started working on Coke again. Okay. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with us today. Thanks for watching us on the replay if you're watching on the replay. And we will talk to you again whenever we talk to you again. Hopefully it's next Friday. Just don't know when yet. All right. See you. Bye.
Cheers.